Previously on Green Aqua.
Please let me summarize the 9 rules of Josh Sim applied to this build. 1. Clear theme. 2. Depth. 3. Focal point. 4. Layers. 5. Shadow. 6. Space. 7. Integration. 8. Contrast. Number 9. Details. And then, after 8 hours of heavy work, the hardscape was final. "100 pots of plants or 23 types of plants." I told you last week that this is an advanced scape here right next to me. Welcome to the beautiful world of aquascaping. The aquatic gardener is here. Today we are planting this 120 P tank, which is 240 liters or 63 gallons. It's an advanced job. Let's get into it. Yeah. This is a first for me because I've never done Brazilian style aquascapes before. I've never done it because I'm a big Iwagumi fan. I know that nowadays I've built a lot of woodscapes, Ryoboku or Mizube style scapes, which is wood only or wood and rock combination formations. And the reason for that is that I really like to step out of my comfort zone and to try myself into new areas of scaping. And I started with Iwagumi scapes and I really still love doing those. So right now I'm moving back to the Iwagumi style with this hardscape, but it's gonna have a twist. The Brazilian style differs, at least in my definition, differs from the Iwagumi by adding a lot of stem plants to the background, not using a minimalist style of planting, and having an abundance of plants all over the tank. There's going to be a lot of details added by the plants, there's going to be a lot of shadow added by the plants. I also want to add another layer with the plants in the background behind these rocks here. So layer number 1 is the sand, layer number 2 are the foreground rocks, layer number 3 is the space with the foreground plants behind these rocks here, all the way to the big structure in the back. The big structure in the back is layer number 4, right? Guys are helping me out. You know that I'm not very good with numbers. Layer number 5 are the stem plants that I'm gonna plant in a moment, and then layer number 6 is the background. And I would say that these small rocks here, which might have to be replaced to bigger ones to accentuate that 6th layer even more. 3 types of Rotalas, which are the main stem plants that I'm going to use in the background. I've got the Rotala green, which is right here. This has been used in a previous tank of ours. The other one comes from the nursery in this condition. Perfectly healthy, but it has different types of leaves. These are the immersed leaves for the Rotala green. So you see the difference between these two. The second main plant is the Rotala HRR. I want to use this in here behind these rocks on the left side in the golden ratio to draw some attention to that golden ratio point with color. So I'm using the color as a point of attention in the tank in this case. And the third Rotala, which is also the main plant here, is the Rotala rotundifolia. This one is Rotala green and this one is Rotala rotundifolia. You can see that this is probably a little bit yellowish. So you'll have all these 3 Rotalas, the green, rotundifolia and HRR, with the same leaf structure. And then I want to add another plant, which is the Pogostemon erectus. Let me know how many plants I'm going to use. The bets are off. Okay, so this is how a Pogostemon erectus would look like with time. A lot longer leaves, but it goes well with the Rotalas. I'm going to use the Juncus repens, which I learned from Felipe Oliveira during his workshop, that looks good in between the stems so that it gives a little bit of dirtiness a little bit of detail to the stem.
Are you looking to me?
Pogostemon stellatus. I have to use this very carefully because it has big red leaves and a lot longer than all the others, so I need to just use one pot of this. So I'm going to start with planting the Rotala HRA. Can you read it? Comment below. Did you check it with a Japanese friend?
A Japan friend translated for me.
Oh, you've got a Japanese friend.
Not mine, my previous girlfriend sister.
Aquascaping relay. That was not a good thing. But we've got the bamboo sticks, so I'm going to use them as reference for the background as the Japanese do. I just realized that you guys don't see what's happening in the background because it burns in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape some geotextile to the back. So this is where the Rotala HRA will go. And for planting, I'm using the ADA Pro Pinsets M. I just call it tweezers. This is my favorite tool for planting. You're not going to see the HRA that I'm going to plant right now because it's going to be behind the rock, but in a week or 2 weeks it's going to grow out. I'm planting very densely, one bunch right next to the other, as densely as possible to have a very strong biomass and also to have the final look as quickly as possible because of the shooting of these videos. These are going to be trimmed down, so they're not going to go up to the surface. They're going to be probably stopped right next to the surface. Next step is Pogostemon erectus, and I'm going to actually use the smaller ones, and I'm moving along the rock, planting it along the rock. Now we're moving to the Rotala green. We found 9 more pots of Rotala green, and they're gonna come to the right side. I'm going to use the Pogostemon stellatus in the back left corner. I'm going to use the Hemianthus micranthemoides that I planned to use behind everything in the back because it has a slightly smaller leaf structure, so it will look more distant in the scape. This line will also connect the Rotala HRA with the Rotala green, so it's going to stretch behind the green as well. This is where the Hemianthus micranthemoides will reflect, something that's not visible from the front, but it's visible in the reflection. The last background plant that I'm going to use is the Uncus repens, which is going to grow high. It looks like a grass. So I can see the Rotala greens in the reflection. The stem plants are all in. The Tenellum red is a red plant, and I plan to have it in the foreground in this spot here, right? I'd really like to use some Hemianthus callitrichoides cuba, which is a very small foreground plant in the right side there. I might even plant it in the sand. It's not going to grow that fast, but it's going to stay there because I want some very light spot that would close the line and attract the viewer's eye and lead it to the reflection. I swear I wanted to have the Araguaia here instead of the Tenellus red. So this is what happens if you had 24 types of plants and you don't know what you're doing because it's your first really sophisticated Brazilian style scape. So I'm going to take this out, use it everywhere else and plant this instead. Now the proper plant. Hygrophila lancea araguaia. Tenellus is good, but it's not as red as this one. Marsilea hirsuta, which is a darker plant, and that will go up on this terrace here. Because this is a dark spot and I want to have a darker green plant in here. Storigine repens. Pogostemon helferi. A little bit of Monte Carlo will grow in here. You can see that the wild look in this scape has already started to disappear by adding all the plants, so the contrast started to disappear. It's going to come back somewhat when the plants are more lined up. I'm going to use the Bucephalandra here and put them in dark spots to accentuate the look. Anubias mini, it gives a lot of character to that spot where I added, so. I've got some more Crenata, which will most likely go in this very dark spot. Jarsim has mentioned in his masterclass that even if you have dark spots, it's very important to have a lot of details in those dark spots. So by adding a little bit of dark colored plants, just a few of them in those dark spots like here, you will see that you already have some detail in that area and it's not completely black. You kind of see some dark green color in there. So what if I use the Tenellus red also in between? That's just going to grow out from everywhere. This will connect the different scape elements. Cryptocorini parva. I'm moving to Cuba, which will go behind Monte Carlo. And then the Crenata at last. I will start the Crenata from the left side and bring it up all the way to the top. Pinatifida, which is the crown that should be used in this scape. I really need to keep this very, very low. And I still have the utricularia. That's going to be a light spot. It will catch the attention. Last step, I'm going to start gluing with the Green Aqua gel type super glue. I've got an ADA moss here. I don't know the name actually because this is Calicostella bactiana. Next one is Riccardia moss. This is the last moss that I'm going to use today. Three and a half hours of planting. I swear I didn't plant this much for one planted tank ever. After 100 and something pots, you will keep track. I'm gonna have to count later because I'm so tired now. We are ready. I'm going to fill it up with water now and let's see how it progresses. It progressed nicely. 2 weeks have passed by since the last shots and I see no algae whatsoever. I had to trim the rotalas a little bit. I think this aquarium turned out really nicely. The water is crystal clear. I used a total of 104 plants and 27 species in total. So that's a lot. There's virtually no algae. Everybody loves this tank. And I promised you guys a twist for the end. IAPLC 2020, position number 7, Luca Galarraga from Brazil. That was my inspiration. Only 2 comments under the previous video have mentioned this. I want to give credit to Luca. He's one of the best aquascapers in the world, and I think that this tank is a living proof that you can get inspired by good aquascapers, and you will have a completely different tank because the position of the rocks is maybe similar but somewhat different. They're different rocks. I'm using different types of plants except the rotala placement, the rotundifolia on the right side and the HRA on the other side, on the left side. It's very difficult to explain to you while the tank is behind me. Anyways, I hope that you liked this video. If you did, do not forget to hit that like button to support the channel and to bring these videos to a wider audience. Your help is much appreciated. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Next week on Green Aqua, lighting tutorial version 2. What's new in the field of aquarium lights?